What's going on, guys? This is Kaisho. Welcome back. So we are back with another video. So in this video, we're going to cover the newly concluded OCG limit regulation for January 2025. Our new year ban list is here. So we are going to cover a huge list for our January format, and boy, it was really something else. But moving on, we are going to discuss forbidden, limited, semi-limited, and unlimited sections in our ban list. So we are here on YGO organization site to see the database for our limit regulation, and it was posted by Neo Arcadia. So shoutouts to him for providing this insightful content. So without further much ado, let's start. So the theme of this post or blog post was, have you considered not playing Ryzel? So from that sentence only, you could already tell that Ryzel have been touched with this current ban list. So moving on towards the forbidden section, we do have a Beast Dweller from Unlimited going into Forbidden. Oh boy, that was really harsh for the our dog of Dweller. So Dweller is a card that uh, really depends on the metagame. It drastically improves its significance if the format calls for Graveyard. But sometimes there are occasions that it is not even relevant at all. So with the ban of Dweller, we could see the importance of Graveyard for Konami, for the game in this modern 2025, going into 2025. We are probably getting some graveyard decks and also cards that may do something in the graveyard. We have seen the Dragon Maid, the Eldritch Support, the Orcus. All of those stuff are kinda getting some graveyard recursions and graveyard effects. And probably the most logical move from Konami was to ban the Abyss Dweller because it halts the graveyard, and without graveyard, almost one third of your field is empty or non-accessible. So with Dweller Gun, we're going to be very sophisticated on playing more graveyard heavy decks, and probably a way also to hit the Ryzel because they always make the Dweller as their third rank fourth choice on their board with the Nader, with the Duo Drive, and Dweller always fills up their board almost every single time. So with Dweller Gun, you're probably getting less Floodgate interactions from Floodgate and from the Ryzel, and possibly other decks that turbos out the Dweller like Sharks, for example, no, and other rank 4 decks will also get halted in this hit, and very important as well for this point forward. Next, we do have the limited section, the R1. First would be Artifact Site from Unlimited to Limited. For me, it doesn't make sense. I don't really think that it is the good way to put Site into the ban list. I think it should be better if the site will get banned, but for some reason they have limited the site, which is already at 1 already in the side deck, and probably main deck of some people that turbos out the Dagda and also the Ryzel that going to pop their own site. So I don't think it makes sense, to be honest. It is better with the ban section, but it is the trajectory that Konami is letting us know that site is unhealthy in our modern game. Next, we have X Ryzel from Unlimited to Limited. That is huge, to be honest. I haven't even anticipated that. I have called that 7th action will go into 1. But X Ryzel, Unlimited to Limited, is massive. It is very massive for Ryzel. I cannot really stress enough that. And this is like their possibly second best choice to open on their hand. And it is very massive for Ryzel, considering that this is the card that dumps the Mirror Logic and also lets them extend or play around hand traps effectively, no? So the X Ryzel into 1 is massive. And I can see the consistency of Ryzel being dropped, and Ryzel players would probably innovate from that, and they would make adjustments to improve the consistency of Ryzel, because a spoiler alert, the X Ryzel is not the only one hit for Ryzel in this meta for 2025. So yeah, X Ryzel going to 1, really disgusting for Ryzel. Next we do have Gold Sark, semi-limited to limited, so they have just reverted back the Gold Sark because there's a lot of decks that are patronizing the Gold Sarcophagus and they are utilizing it to the full extent, and even the likes of the forthcoming Dragon Ruler could also abuse this Gold Sarcophagus. So it might be a preemptive hit towards those decks, and also the current decks like Branded and other stuff, no? So Gold Sarcophagus, really powerful card on the right deck, but yeah, it could make sense. It could make sense. Next we do have Allure of Darkness into limited. So I think this is their way of addressing the Malice, if I'm not mistaken. Probably Allure of Darkness is just so good that it gives you so much card advantages for Malice. And the twisting part about that is not all people run the Allure. There are people playing Malice that doesn't run Allure. They opt to play Signet Mining, or sometimes they go with Allure and don't include the Signet, no? So Allure is really a consistency card and also a fodder for the Malice. And objectively speaking, Malice has been the second best deck for the majority of October 2024 format. So it is rightful to see Malice getting hits, and possibly I have called it as well before that Malice will not get major hits towards the core of the deck, considering that it is a waifu archetype. So if you are playing Yu-Gi-Oh long enough, you know how it goes for these waifu decks, and you know it all. The plethora of supports that are coming along their way, and timeless, really timeless amount of support that can withstand the meta and time. So yeah, moving on, we do have Gozen Match. So I wonder why Gozen Match is getting into limited. Probably a way to halt the Runic, the upcoming Eldritch that is getting new support, and other stand decks that could patronize the Gozen Match. But for me, I think Gozen Match is a really nice floodgate. It is not something like Summon Limit or other stuff, because Gozen Match is a tool that can be utilized by mono attribute decks and also can punish the other variants in this metagame, and also the different engines deck that are piled up together, Finsmith, Primite, all of those stuff. So yeah, Gozen Match going to limited, possibly a really nice way to limit the floodgates into the game. Next we have Cyberjar. Forbidden to limited, to me, doesn't matter that much because Cyberjar is a very, very, very old card. Probably even older than I am, no? So, Cyberjar going back into limited could be problematic if there's a mad genius that could abuse this card, but it is a long shot to happen for me. I don't see it happening. And moving on next, we do have semi-limited. This is a huge semi-limited section. First would be 7 Tachyon, unlimited to semi-limited. So I have called this card go into 1, but boy, it was rough for Rizil with X going to 1 and 7 going to semi-limited. It is massive. They have lost 3 components of their consistency. So it could be really hurting for them and possibly make waves for Primate Blue Eyes or Malice to be the best deck in this meta. It could happen because they have lost some huge numbers of consistency. 3 cards are massive. If you don't know uh, the 3 cards that can rattle that deck, it is massive. Even though Rizil has 1 card starters and multitudes of starters, it can hurt the deck. And it could lower down the power of Rizil in overall. And I think Rizil as a deck is kind of balanced, but it is very much winning every time. To be honest, almost all of our major events from October format has been won by Rizil. So even though the deck looks fair, no, on paper and on gameplay, it looks fair. I think you could probably beat Rizil with non-tier deck, rogue deck, stun deck, go second deck. Almost all of the decks can beat it, but it is just so consistent, so powerful, so resilient, and has a lot of rooms for non-engine. So those factors alone makes Rizil the best out of the meta right now, but it could change this coming January. Next would be Performable Monkey Board. I have called it to 3. I don't think it will matter that much, but it could be a nice boost for our Pendulum decks, the Yuya, Sakaki verse of Arc V, they could probably get some love out there with also Chronograph Sorcerer limited into semi-limited. It could boost the Pendulum Magician and all of those Performapal, Draco Slayer, all of those stuff, with all those Pendulum decks could get some resurgence if people can make a list that is very functioning, consistent, and can be resilient enough against the modern hand traps like Fualos, no? For example, and the Dominus cards. So yeah, I think this is a good trajectory for Pendulum decks. Next, we do have Masterpiece. Semi-limited right now from limited. So I think it should have gone towards the semi-limited into the unlimited. But I think Konami is just trying to play the guessing game right now, whether they would just test the waters, whether Masterpiece could break the True Draco. But for me, even at 3, True Draco is not going to be demolishing everyone, no? So Masterpiece going back into semi-limited could be just the right amount of ample support that the True Draco can have this January. And it could make the format interesting once True Draco climbs back the ladder. It could potentially be one of the most compelling control decks to play. But right now, I don't see it happening, even with Masterpiece going back into 2. Next would be Morphing Jar, limited to semi-limited. Probably another card that is even older than me. So Morphing Jar into semi-limited doesn't really make sense to me. I just know that burn decks, chain burn decks, FTK decks could abuse it, but in the modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not happening. There's a lot of power creep going on. Every single month, every single new set, the power level of these decks are getting out of hand, and the ban lists are the only thing that keeps everything on check, no? So it's just every 4 months, every quarter of the month. So, like I've said, the Yu-Gi-Oh have gone too far, and these GOAT cards are not really relevant at all unless there's a deck that could just specifically wants to utilize those cards and abuse it out of the blue. And next would be Snatch Steal. Limited to semi-limited, I think not relevant at all. And could just be another way to make some going second cards viable like Snatch Steal, no? From the previous lifting of Change of Heart. So Snatch Steal is their new tag to boost the going second prowess of most going second decks. Next, we do have Zodiac Barrage. So, Zodiac Barrage into 2. I don't think that it is enough to make Zodiac really a threat. We have seen Zodiac as a tier D deck or even tier C on the first 2-3 weeks of October, but it died down. It is not fast enough or powerful enough to compete against the likes of Ryzel, Malice, Blue Eyes Primite, even the likes of Voices Voice. It's not even close. It's not even close. And I think Zodiac should get the Broad Bull back or at least unlimit the Trident. But Zodiac Barrage is a nice way to put the Zodiac back on the track. Moving on next, we do have Unlimited, so Eva. So, funnily enough, the deck that rattled the Eva was the Tear Laments. It's not even the Fairy decks. It is the Tear Laments. It was the Tear Laments before from 2022. And with Eva going back into 3, I don't think it will matter that much. Even Drytron doesn't really fancy playing Eva right now. So, the decks like Herald or other stuff that could utilize the Eva is not really impactful enough in this metagame. So we will see whether Eva could make a difference next time. And next we do have Lion Wrestler Pankratops. I have called it with Pankra going back into 3. I think it is a really nice way to out the floodgates and also address problematic high attack boss monsters and similar like to floodgate effects on the field. So yeah, it is also a really nice buff for our staple lineup. Next, we have Malicious into Unlimited. I have seen a lot of good hero players. Edison from our community and Ryan. A lot of very good hero players. And I am really scary that Malicious is getting back into 3. They have the tool now, the third copy of Malicious to unlock ridiculous combos, ridiculous loops, and also more resources as well, no? So on the hands of a right hero pilot, it could really make a difference. But for me, it is not really marginalized enough to make some huge waves on the mainstream, on the Japanese, Korean, China, Taiwan metagame. But for the smaller regions, Philippines, Indonesia, Thailand, and the likes, a lot of really good hero players could capitalize with this malicious unlimited. Next we do have MX Saber Invoker Unlimited. I think it's not relevant enough. I have also said it on my prediction video. I don't think the card will do something in this meta, considering that there's not decks anywhere that could abuse this right now. Next we do have Luster Pendulum, the Draco Slayer. Okay, another good way to improve the Pendulum. So like I've said on my previous video of the prediction, the Pendulum mechanic is the most unloved or forgotten summon mechanic. They don't get the same love as Lynx, as XYZ, as Synchro, as Fusion, no? So, Pendulum could really get some love for the sake of balancing out the summoning mechanics and also the generational Yu-Gi-Oh! Of those summon methods. So, Luster Pendulum, really nice as well and could unlock some really nasty plays for the Draco Slayer. Next, we do have Delicious Memory going back into 3. I have predicted that the Sleepy Memory could go back into 2, but with Delicious Memory going back into 3, it is really better for purely. I just think that they have opted for Memory instead of Sleepy Memory because Sleepy Memory can draw so much card 3, 6, those cards are really massive for purely sitting on a tower. It could really be something else. So they have opt for the saver route and they have choose the delicious going back into 3. Next, the last card, of course, branded opening. We are getting an anime that is focused on the branded storyline, the Albaz. So I think that's just marketing propaganda to improve the branded experience for players that are diving into the game after watching the anime. So most probably after they watch the anime, they would be fascinated with the lore of Albaz, with the Ecclesia, the anti-hero, Albaz, those romance, those huge vast lore with the Tri Brigade, with the Sword Soul, with the Ice Jade, the whole branded Albaz storyline, Dogmatica, all of those are summed up into one really cool anime, and it could be a very pivoting tool to shift people into the paper game, into our game, into the Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG. So, branded should be the first deck that could come up in their mind once they have dived into the game because it is what they saw on the television or the computers. So, probably they are going to play the branded and opening into 3 could be a really nice boost for our branded. But on the contrary, there are a bunch of real experience and good branded players already in our game. So yeah, I'm really afraid if this limit could make a difference for them, no? So yeah, that sums up our OCG limit regulation review and analysis for our January 1st, 2025 format. So if you found this video informative and helpful, please consider subscribing. It definitely motivates me a lot to keep providing this content for you guys. So once again, thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Peace.